Good morning, my dear students. Once again, welcome back to Social Science Revision online teaching classes from Vishwamanava Residential High School. Dear students, in today's class, we are going to discuss 1 marks, 2 marks and 3 marks question and answers in the part of the economics, the third lesson and fourth lesson, that is money and credit and public finance. These two lessons today we are going to discuss through the question and answers. Okay. Economics part of the third lesson, money and credit. Okay, let's start. The first question, what is money? Or state the definition of Robertson. See here. According to Robertson, money is anything which is widely accepted in payment for goods or in discharge of other business obligations. That is called as money according to Robertson. See here, money means money is anything which is widely accepted in payment for goods. Then we call it as money. Then second question, very important. See here, what is barter system? Barter system means it is the primitive stage. It is the primary stage. People exchanged goods for goods without the use of money. People exchanged goods for goods without use the money, that we call it as barter system. Then third question, the plastic money is also called as e-money. Why? Because the plastic money is done through electronic means. It is also called as e-money. Understand? Then fourth question, when was Reserve Bank of India nationalized? Answer, the Reserve Bank of India was nationalized on 1st January 1949. Isn't it? Then fifth question, what is the reason for the balance in saving or current, also called as demand deposit? What is the main reason? Answer, saving can be withdrawn on demands from the bank, so hence it is called as demand deposit. Isn't it? Then sixth question, how does inflation occur? Answer, a higher supply of money without containment supply of goods would lead to a situation of inflation or a period of rising price. Isn't it? Then seventh question, what is monetary policy? Answer, monetary policy means the measure taken to regulate credit overall money supply in the economy and interest rate are together, that means we call it as monetary policy. Then eighth question, what is open market operation? Answer, open market operation is the buying and selling of government securities by the central bank from and to other banks. So it is called as open market operation. Then ninth question, what is cash reserve ratio? Answer, the cash reserve ratio means the ratio of the deposits which the banks are required to keep with Reserve Bank of India. It is called as cash reserve ratio. Then 10th question, what is statutory liquidity ratio? Answer, the minimum cash which the banks have to keep with themselves as a ratio of the deposits. It is called as statutory liquidity ratio. Then these are the 1 marks or 2 marks question and answer in the lesson money and credit. Then let's move on. Answer the following questions for 3 marks. The first question, mention the stages of evaluation of money, or The money we using now has evaluated over the years. Justify the statement. See here, the stages of evaluation of money. One is barter system, second one is commodity money, third one is metallic money, fourth one is paper money, fifth one is bank money, and the last sixth one is plastic money. See here, these are the stages of evaluation of money, isn't it? Then let's move on. The second question, very important. Explain the meaning and functions of money. I already told the meaning of money. See, meaning of money. Money is anything which is widely accepted in payment for goods. It is called as money. The functions of money. First one is medium of exchange. Second one is measure of value. Third one is store of value. Fourth one is transfer of value. And the fifth one is standard of deferred payments. So, these are the functions of money, isn't it? Now, let's move on. The second question, very important. See here. What are the functions of Reserve Bank of India? Reserve Bank of India plays an important role in the economic development of a country. How? Dear students, this question is very important in your examination point of view. So all of you listen carefully. What are the functions of Reserve Bank of India? One is monopoly of note issue. In the functions of Reserve Bank of India, we can see monopoly of note issue. For example, 2 rupee notes, 5 rupee notes, 10 rupee notes, 50 rupees notes, etc. It is the monopoly of note issues. Second, bankers to the government, and the Reserve Bank of India, it is bankers bank. Why the Reserve Bank of India is called as bankers bank? Because all the banks of the country have to keep a predominant part of their deposits or Reserve Bank with the Reserve Bank of India. Then fourth one is National Clearing House. Fifth one is Controller of Credit. Sixth one is Custodian of Foreign Exchange Reserve. And the last one is Promotion of Banking Habits. So, these are the functions of Reserve Bank of India. Very important. Okay, let's move on. The third question, explain the various credit control methods adopted by Reserve Bank of India. In the credit control methods adopted by Reserve Bank of India, we can see quantitative credit control measures and qualitative credit control measures. See here, in the quantitative credit control measures, we can see bank rate policy, open market operations and varying reserve requirements. Then second, qualitative credit control measures. In the qualitative credit control measures, we can see change in lending margins, ceiling on credit, moral situation and direct action. So, these are the various credit control methods adopted by Reserve Bank of India. Then, fourth question, explain the various concepts of money supply used in India. What are the various concepts of money supply used in India? One is M1, second one is M2, third one is M3 and fourth one is M4. See here, M1 is equal to currency notes and coins plus net demand deposit held in commercial banks, isn't it? Then second, M2. M2 is equal to M1 plus saving deposit with post office saving banks. Third one is M3. M3 is equal to M1 plus net time deposit of commercial banks. And the last fourth one is M4. M4 is equal to M3 plus total demand deposit with post office saving banks. So these are the various concepts of money supply used in India. Then next question. The Reserve Bank of India works as a government bank. Justify. The Reserve Bank of India works as a government bank, or Reserve Bank of India is called as government bank. Why? Answer. The Reserve Bank of India accepts the deposits of central and state governments, isn't it? It collects money like tax and other charges, then makes payments on behalf of the government. It issues government bonds, treasury bills, acts as financial advisor to the government, and the Reserve Bank of India also extend loans advance to central and state government and as when necessary. So this is about the Reserve Bank of India works as a government bank, or Reserve Bank of India is called as a government bank. Then let's move on. The another important question in this lesson. Reserve Bank of India is called as Bankers Bank. Why? Very important. See here, the Reserve Bank of India is called as Bankers Bank because it also acts as the central bank for all banking institutions, isn't it? It also acts as bank for all banking institutions. All of you know that all the banks of the country have to keep a predominant or predetermined part of their deposits as reserve with the Reserve Bank of India. Then third point, whenever banks need additional money, Reserve Bank of India provides credit to them. Then it regulates the activities of the banks and it guides the banking institutions in monetary management. So this is about the Reserve Bank of India is called as a Bankers Bank. See here, these are the very important question and answers in the lesson money and credit. And let's move on. The another important chapter in the economics part, the fourth unit, public finance and budget. First main, answer the following questions. The first question, what is mean by personal finance? Answer, the management of income, expenditure and debt of an individual is called as a personal finance. Then second question, what is mean by public finance? Answer, the government has to manage its income and expenditure. The government has to manage its income and expenditure, the study of which is called as a public finance. Then third question, state the definition of Dalton about public finance. According to Dalton, finance means income and expenditure of public authorities with the adjustment of one to other. It is called as a public finance according to Dalton. Then fourth one is, what do you mean by fiscal policy? Very important question. Fiscal policy means the policy that government followed by time to time with related to its income, expenditure and loans. That when we call it as fiscal policy. Then fifth question, state the financial year in India. Very important, the financial year in our country starts from April 1st and ends on 31st March. Then what do you mean by budget? Budget means the statement of estimated income and expenditure of a year. The statement of estimated income and expenditure of a year prepared by government is called as a budget. Then seventh question, give the meaning of deficit budget. Answer, if the expenditure is more than the revenue, expenditure is more than the revenue, that when we call it as deficit budget. Then eighth question, in developing countries like India, the governments normally prepare deficit budget. Why? Answer, in developing countries like India, the governments normally prepare deficit budget and try to spend more to achieve economic progress, isn't it? Then ninth question, what is public expenditure? Answer, the public expenditure means Public authorities. The expenditure included by public authorities like central, state and local governments to satisfy the collective social wants of people. It is called as public expenditure, isn't it? Then 10th question, what is the reason for increase of public expenditure of modern governments? Answer, in the 20th century, the role and scope of governments had expanded and public expenditure also increased. So that is the main reason. Then 11th question, what is public revenue? Answer, public revenue is the income mobilized by the government for purpose of financing the government activities. So it is called as a public revenue. Then 12th question, what is revenue receipts? Answer, the revenue receipt means the revenue generated by the government through taxes and non-tax source. It is called as revenue receipts, isn't it? Then 13th question, what is mean by tax? Very important. So all of you listen carefully. Tax means it is describe a compulsory payment by citizens to the government without accepting any direct benefit in return. So it is called as a tax. It is a compulsory payment, isn't it? Then what are direct taxes? Answer, when the direct tax is paid by an individual on whom it is levied, it is called as a direct tax, isn't it? See, give the example for direct tax, very important. The importance of direct tax are professional income tax, corporate tax, wealth tax and stamp duty. So these are the examples of a direct tax, isn't it? Then indirect tax. What are indirect tax? See here, indirect tax means if the burden of tax imposed by the government is transferable to others, it is called as a indirect tax. Then give the example for indirect tax. Very important, direct tax and indirect tax. See the examples of indirect tax: central excise duty, value added tax, import and export taxes and service tax. So these are the examples of indirect tax, isn't it? Then what is the expansion of GST? Answer, goods and service tax. GST is called as goods and service tax, isn't it? Then next 19th question, what is public debt? Answer, the government borrows money from internal and external sources. It is called as a public debt. Then what is disinvestment? Disinvestment means the government withdraws its investment from its own industry. That is called as disinvestment. Then the next question, how does government collect non-debt capital receipts? How does government collect non-debt capital receipts? Answer, the government collects non-debt capital receipts through disinvestment and loans repayment by the state government. Then what is deficit financing? Answer, deficit financing is defined as financing and budgetary deficit through loans from Reserve Bank of India and creation of new money. It is called as deficit financing. Then write the formula of physical deficit. Answer, physical deficit is equal to revenue receipts plus non-debt capital receipts minus total expenditure. That is the formula of physical deficit. So these are the 1 marks and 2 marks question and answers in the lesson Public Finance and Budget. Let's move on. The 3 marks question and answers in the lesson. The first question, explain the reasons for increasing in public expenditure. Very important question. So all of you listen carefully. Keep it in mind. Very important. Sometimes this question is asked for 3 marks. See, or what are the goals of public expenditure? Reasons for increasing in public expenditure. or what are the goals of public expenditure? Very, very important. See here, the first one is the public expenditure promote foster economic development, isn't it? Second one is public expenditure promote industry, trade and commerce. Third point, public expenditure promote agricultural and rural development. Fourth point, public expenditure promote balanced regional growth. And the last point, public expenditure promote full employment. So these are the goals for public expenditure or reasons for increasing the public expenditure, isn't it? Then let's move on. Then public expenditure promotes maximize social welfare and it promotes build socio-economic overheads, for example roadways, etc. So these are the goals of public expenditure. Then let's move on the second question. Explain the aspects of non-tax revenue of the central government. Very, very important. Explain the aspects of non-tax revenue of the central government. One is the aspects of the non-tax revenue of the central government. We can see profit earned by Reserve Bank of India, isn't it? Profit earned by Reserve Bank of India. Then second point, profit generated by Indian Railways. Third point, revenue generated by the departments of post and revenue generated by the telecommunication, revenue generated by the public sector industries and revenue generated by the consignments and various types of fees and penalties. So these are the aspects of non-tax revenue of the central government, isn't it? Then third question, what is deficit? Mention the types of deficit. Answer, the financing the budgetary deficit through loans from Reserve Bank of India and creation of new money. It is called as a deficit. Types of deficit, physical deficit, revenue deficit, primary deficit and budget deficit. So these are the types of a deficit. Then let's move on. Another important question, differentiate between direct tax and indirect tax. What are the difference between direct tax and indirect tax? Answer, first we are going to discuss direct tax. In the direct tax, see here, payment by an individual on whom it is levied. Payment paid by an individual. Second point, tax burden is not transferable to others. In the indirect tax is not transferable to others. For example, personal income tax, corporate tax, wealth tax, stamp duty, etc. So this is about the direct tax. In the another side, indirect tax. Indirect tax we can see imposed on goods and services. Second point, tax burden is transferable to others. For example, GST. So this is about indirect tax. These are the differentiate between direct tax and indirect tax. So these are the very important question and answers in the lesson Public Finance and Budget. And let's move on. The another important chapter in the business studies of the fourth lesson, that is consumer education and protection. See here, in the consumer education and protection, the first question, who is consumer? Answer, the person who buy goods and services, it is called as consumer. Second question, what is the main aim of consumer movement? Answer, to protect the consumer from the exploitation by the producers and traders. So that is the main aim of the consumer movement. Then third question, what is the right of every consumer? All of you know that the right of every consumer to get the quality goods, right to get the quality goods, that is the rights of every consumer. Then fourth question, when did Consumer Protection Act came into force in India? Very important, in the year 1988. Then fifth question, what do you mean by consumer protection? Answer, the protection to consumer against the exploitation by the producers and traders. So it is called as consumer protection. Then very, very important, when did World Consumer Day came into force? When did the World Consumer Day came into force? Answer, 15th March 1962. Then what is tele shopping? Answer, the consumer can sit at home and directly buy the goods from the traders using information technology or SMS. Then it is called as tele shopping. Then 8th question, who is a seller? Answer, the person who sells goods and services to the consumer, that is called as a seller. Then 9th question, who appoints the president of the direct district consumer forum? Who appoints the president of the district consumer forum? Answer, state government appoints the president of the district consumer forum. Then 10th question, when do we celebrate World Consumer Day? All of you know that, very important. The 15th March every year we celebrate World Consumers Day. So this is about the 1 marks question and answers in the lesson consumer protection, consumer education and production. Then 2 marks. The first question, what are the problems faced by consumer, or what are the causes for consumer exploitation? Very important. The problems faced by consumer, all of you know that, cheating by the seller, overcharging, exploitation by the agents, adulteration, false weights and measures. So this is about the problems faced by consumer. The second question, mention the 4 important aims of the Consumer Protection Council. What are the 4 important aims of the Consumer Protection Council? The first one is safety and quality of goods. Second one is avoiding production and sales of dangerous goods. Third one is prevention of trade malpractices in the market. Fourth one is supervision on quality, weight, measures and price. Then last one is cheating awareness to the consumer. So this is about the aims of Consumer Protection Council. Then third question, what are the rights guaranteed to consumer by the Consumer Protection Act? What are the rights? One is very important, right to information, right to choice, right to consumer education, right to stop exploitation, right to be heard. So these are the rights guaranteed to consumer by the Consumer Protection Act, isn't it? Then mention the 3 stages of consumer court. One is answer, one is district forum, second one is state commission, and the third one is a national commission. So these are the 3 stages of a consumer court. Then the next question, what are the methods to follow a file a complaint in consumer court? Very important. See, listen. The methods to follow to file a complaint in consumer court. The complaint may be typed or type 1 or handwriting. First, the complaint may be typed or handwriting. Then second point, the complaint should include the name of the person, full address and telephone number. To mention the name, full address and telephone number. Then third point, the person or organization against to whom the complaint is made should be mentioned clearly with address, isn't it? Then last point, the particulars of the goods which the loss has incurred and the amount of loss should be specified clearly. So this is about the methods to follow to file a complaint in consumer court. So these are the very important question and answers in the lesson consumer education and protection. Okay, my dear students, in today's class we have discussed the 1 marks, 2 marks and 3 marks question and answers in the lessons money and credit, public finance and consumer education and protection. Okay, thank you.